I don't want to go over the tragic plane crash with Randy because it's been so talked about. But so I thought rather than sort of go over that one more time because it's a painful thing, and even as a fan, thinking of how painful it is, having met some of the family through the years, just in my own life, and even being able to express my gratitude for what a great musician Randy was. I thought it was because you guys were friends. I thought rather than end on tragedy, it's part of, his story and Ozzy's story and your story. I thought just, if you could just talk a little bit about Randy as a musician, because the shocking thing to me in researching and getting ready to talk to you is he was only 25 years old. And you think of the music that he produced by the time he was 25 that we're still listening to and we still celebrate him. And even when we did the last Ozzy show together, there was that beautiful moment where Randy's mom kind of talked a little bit.
Yeah.
And they were able to pay tribute to Ozzy,
Yeah, and
Randy in the
too.
show. And it was so emotional,
It was. Well, after Randy died, I just lost the joy of making music. I mean, I'm still trying to get that feeling of being in a band like that. Not only because of the caliber of the musicianship and the music, but also the caliber of the integrity.
Yeah.
Which is something very rare to find in musicians with the musical integrity of the level of Randy Rhoads. Of course, you had Ozzy, who went on to, after Randy passed away. I mean, Randy was his first discovery. And I look at his career as a career of mentorship and discovering some of the greatest talent in music.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is. And diversity.
Yeah.
He's had, I joined the band, I passed the audition, and there's so many stories that I can tell you about it. But getting to the point, the next day he's doing an interview, and there's actually a photo session that goes along with the interview. And they ask him, so who's in the band? And he goes, well, we got Randy Rhoads, and then he talks about Randy and Tommy Aldridge, and then he says, and we got Rudy from Cuba. That's for Circus Magazine. Finally, he did that interview like in April, and I opened the magazine like in July because it used to take that long. Yeah. And I'm like, oh wow, Ozzy interview. Maybe there's something about us, the guys in the band. Yeah. I opened it and Rudy from Cuba, and I went, wow, he doesn't mind that I am from Cuba. And I that was like what confirmed it, because he had always been so gracious. Again, I've been in the band at that time for like 3 or 4 months. Sharon opened her house to me, her family home. I moved in with them the day that I got the audition. I moved in.
Yeah.
Because I was sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
And he says, well, we have these bungalows here. You can stay one of them.
Yeah.
Nobody did that for me before.
Yeah.
Ozzy, we were playing pool. He takes a look at me and he goes, man, you look like you need some rock and roll clothes. I did. I'm telling you, I was wearing all these girls' little outfits, He looks at me. So he goes to his room, brings a suitcase and pours it on the pool table. And he says, grab whatever you want. And I'm like, oh my God, that's the jacket from that album cover and this magazine. And I'm like, I can't grab this. He says, here. So I grab me stuff. It's here. Wear this. And that's what I wore on the first photo session. As far as diversity, me, Cuban, then he's had all these different nationalities in his band. J.P. Lee, We got Randy Castillo. We got Mike Inez, Robert Trujillo. Am I missing anybody else?
No, but that's what I was saying. Rock and heavy metal is uniquely voiced for bringing people together in a way that other genres just don't seem to do that.
Yeah. Ozzy worked on vibe.
Very intuitive person.
Yeah. That was it. He didn't care what you looked like, where you came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot to process. But thank you for sharing that about Randy, because I think that's, when somebody passes, it forces us to look back. Like with Ozzy passing, it forced us to look back. But speaking of Randy, by the time as a fan, I even knew what I had, he was gone, because I love those records and I learned guitar to those records, and I knew that he was special, but I didn't know how special, because what do you know when you're 14, 15 years old? You know what I mean? But I love what you said about integrity, because in a way his talent is so shockingly ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
He set the template for so much guitar music to follow that in a way he almost kind of snuck up on everybody. It was so explosive. And the other thing which you would know is, they did that first album, and then while they were waiting, they went ahead and recorded the second album. So when he made both of those albums, he didn't even know if people were going to like what he did.
When I joined the band, that album was not mixed yet. So maybe a month later, after I joined the band, the cassette appears, and Ozzy puts it in the tour bus and listens to it for the very first time. And it was so different from the first one that he hated it.
It was kind of shocking. Even the first time I heard it, it was a little bit like...
But because it was the future.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even as a fan, in 1982 or whatever was the year, I remember listening to it right the week it came out, thinking, right?
Yeah, it sounded so different because the Blizzard is more 70s sounding.
Sure.
The way it's engineered and mixed.
Oh no, Randy's taken off there.
And by the second one, it was like, and Ozzy was not ready for it.
Yeah.
Even though he recorded it, but I think it was more having to do with the mix being kind of like wet and a lot of atmosphere to it,
Yeah.
And he wanted a little bit of a drier record. It was actually when we did Speak of the Devil, that's a very dry live recording.